way, so make sure if you aren't subscribed, make sure you do that. 7.5k, very exciting. And make sure you check out yesterday's video where I just had a bunch of fun playing some GTA, and if you're into some more ASMR gameplay stuff, make sure you definitely check out last night's video, play some GTA. It's definitely a lot of fun. Also, we have a super shout out, super appreciation to Flamboyant Pickle again. Thank you so much, Flamboyant Pickle. We already know how much we love and appreciate you around here. Thank you so much. And yeah, I will be getting a new microphone sometime soon, so thankfully that will help me out with recording a whole lot, and then I can finally do ASMR live streams again for you guys. But yeah, I think that's everything. So I think we can finally get started with the top 10. Alright guys, so if you don't know the sort of gist of everything yet, these players are, according to ESPN, again, according to ESPN, are their positions. You could have your own opinion. I do have my own opinion of where these players should be playing at next season, but according to ESPN, last season, these players played at this position, so that's totally fine. It's just what the rules I'm going by, so it's not all opinionated and this and that. ESPN says these players are shooting guards. My opinion. These top 10s are just my opinion. They are dumb, stupid, they're wrong, they're not correct. That's just my opinion. Whatever I say about these players is not going to affect the player whatsoever. So just keep that in mind. I have my opinion, you have yours, and I would love to know your opinion down in the comments. Also, this is a list for the top 10 shooting guards going into the 2022 NBA season. This is not, oh, if this player is fully healthy and that player is fully healthy and this and that. It's not a bunch of what ifs. It's just based off of what we saw from last season going into the 2021-2022 NBA season. Keep that in mind. Right, so coming in at number 10, I have here from the Portland Trail Blazers. Yes, I have CJ McCollum at number 10. Now, if we were taking the CJ McCollum that we saw at the beginning of the 2020-2021 NBA season, this would probably be a very bad placing of CJ, because at the beginning, maybe a handful of games, maybe the first month even of the year, CJ McCollum was averaging, give or take, 27, 28 points per game, looking like he was finally becoming that all-star, that duo guy for Damian Lillard at the beginning of the year. And then he got hurt, and then it sort of, evened him out a little bit throughout the year. Last season, in 47 games, he averaged 23 points, 4 rebounds, and about 5 assists a game, so definitely not bad numbers for CJ McCollum. Definitely very average. He shot 40% from 3, which was his best shooting outing since about the 2016 NBA season, which is really good. CJ McCollum has always been one of the best shooters, at least in my opinion, in the NBA. Very underrated in that opinion. Definitely one of the best mid-range shooters of the NBA. A lot of people miss that about him, but I mean, I think we all know that CJ McCollum is a really good player, but he is really just a really good shooter, and that's really about it. Can he facilitate? Yes. Can he defend? Absolutely not. But does he play smart? Yes, he's a very high IQ guy. I mean, obviously this dude is the president of the NBA Player Association, so he definitely has some IQ on and off the court. So CJ is a really, really good player. And if he was, and I keep saying this, if he was traded to a team where he was the number 1 ball handler, I think it would really help out his career, because he is really good when he's not playing with Damian Lillard, when Damian isn't playing, and CJ is the main go-to guard in the offense. This dude looks like he can be like a 30-point per game scorer. Like, he is that good and talented, but when he does play with Dame, obviously Dame is Dame, and I think it really does sort of hurt him playing off the ball. So that months of missing the NBA season. Going to take him a lot to get going until we see, maybe the true Klay Thompson. It's probably going to take him maybe till the end of the year going into the playoffs if the Warriors do make the playoffs. And coming off of not one, but two big-time major leg injuries, we're really going to need to wait and see how well Klay Thompson can come back into the NBA's mix. Now, I am giving him the benefit of the doubt. He's still a top 10 shooting guard, at least in my opinion. Even if Klay Thompson just comes in and being a spot-up jump shooter, he's going to be the best spot-up jump shooter in the entire NBA. That's not going to be hindered at all by, a leg injury. I don't think, at least. But how is it going to help his confidence? How well is he going to trust himself? How well on the defensive end can he be? Klay Thompson definitely wasn't shy of, dunking the ball, being a very good, maybe not really athletic, but a two-way player. How is that going to change? That's what we have to wait and see. So I'm giving him a little bit of leg room here. Ooh, that's kind of a bad pun. On the season, I don't want to give him a bunch of slack. I don't want to give him a bunch of pressure. I guess making him obviously healthy. Clint Thompson is top 3 shooting guard in the NBA. I don't want to do that yet. I want to see Klay Thompson and how he is. Klay Thompson is still going to be an amazing jump shooter, probably still going to average around 20-25 points per game, but it's just everything else that Klay Thompson used to do really well. How can he still do that? I have no idea, but in the season that we did see him play, I think the last time we saw him play was 2019, average 19, let's see, average 21 points, a steal a game as well, 3 assists, 4 rebounds, definitely not bad, and shooting, he shot 40%, so definitely good stats from Klay Thompson the last time we saw him, but again, nearly 2-3 years ago. We're going to really need to wait and see. So at number 9, Klay Thompson gives him a little bit of room to sort of, fall out of the top 10 if he doesn't go that well. Coming in at number 8. Yeah, number 8 is a player I feel like is going to really have a nice, good year. Could even end up higher by the end of the year. But going into the year, at number 8, I have, and according to ESPN, is a shooting guard, which I don't know how well I believe, but Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, yes, SGA. Technically on ESPN, he's a shooting guard, so I gotta rank him as a shooting guard. And still, I think he is a top 10 point guard, or even a top 10 shooting guard in the NBA. I think we're going to see a very nice SGA next year. Last year, he averaged about 24 points per game, 5 rebounds, and 6 assists. Definitely some pretty good numbers. Only going into his 4th year in the NBA, already looking like to be a very promising young player. Last season, he averaged 41% from 3, shooting about 2 a game, making about 4.5 to 5 a game. If he can continue becoming a better and better scorer while keeping up with that facilitating role he has on the Thunder, that's gonna look really good for SGA. Now, we saw him play alongside Chris Paul on the Thunder. I guess now that was 2 years ago. And even then, as an off guard, looking really good. But I think in this upcoming year, I'd like to be even more involved with being a point guard for the team. I would love to see that. SGA is, I think we all know, sort of like the typical new age point guard where he's about 6'5", 6'6", can dribble, can defend, can basically do everything, and that's why I love SGA. He is still a little bit raw, and also his team isn't really, I guess, up to par, so getting good assists and good numbers and things like that, making him look good, it's really just really up to himself. So, man, if SGA was on a good team with him on it, that's a very scary thing to think about. So, SGA as an individual is already such a good player, and I think he does heighten the play of a lot of the players on the Thunder. If he can continue to do that, and also just, again, still a young, raw player, could hopefully still develop a little bit better of a more consistent offensive game. I know I just said he shot 40% from 3, but I think, player IQ, aging into the NBA, I think he just needs a little bit more time, and then we can really start saying, all-star SGA and all these things, because I think definitely, at least in the next maybe 2-3 years, he'll be an all-star. I think next year is kind of a still iffy thing, but I think SGA definitely has that very good all-star potential, right? So about now in my list is where things get very as you guys know, I really do love two-way players, two-way capability. I love players who can do a lot more than just score the ball. So, with that being said, at number 7 is a player I love, but definitely has more of a team play now this year instead of an individual play, so I think it's going to knock him down maybe a spot or two. At 7, I have Zach Levine. Now, I know Zach Levine is an amazing player, but take this as a compliment. I think with Zach Levine not having to score, like he did last year, nearly 28 points per game, 5 rebounds and 5 assists, literally insane numbers, one of the best scorers in the NBA, an amazing shooter as well. I mean, last year he shot 42% from 3, which is just insane. But he finally has a team. He finally has a team to really help elevate alongside him. With DeMar, we have Lonzo Ball, Vucevic, we have Kobe White coming off the bench with Alex Caruso. The team is finally starting to come together around him. So I don't think we're going to see, a nearly 30-point per game scorer Zach Levine next year. At least I hope not. I hope we see Zach really start becoming more of that ball facilitator, maybe a little bit more of, I don't know, obviously the go-to offensive head, no doubt about it, but not a guy who has to score at will to just, wiggle out a way a victory. Hopefully we don't have to see that, so take this somewhat as a compliment now. Again, not that much of a defender. I know I just said he averaged 5 assists a game, so going into the year, hopefully he can be a little bit more of, a point guard, an off guard type of player where they can play through Zach Levine if they need to, but obviously Lonzo Ball is really going to take a lot of that away from Zach Levine a lot, so maybe we're not going to really see a whole lot of that, so again, kind of knocks him down a little bit. It's going to be interesting to see, so as long as Zach Levine can just stay a very good, high percentage shooter, I think he will still become that sort of 25 to 28 point per game scorer, which is amazing, but again, finally having a team, hopefully he doesn't need to be that crazy scorer to just, get 1 win or 2 wins here and there. Hopefully it's more of a team play for Chicago. At number 7, Zach Levine. It's more of a compliment than what you think. And coming in at number 6, and again, players you can flip-flop around any which way you want. Comment down below. At number 6, I have Bradley Beal. Even saying that makes me feel weird, but number 6, Bradley Beal. Now, this could be very wrong because obviously now with Bradley Beal, really, no offense to everyone else on the team, is the guy on the Washington Wizards. Even last year, alongside Russell Westbrook, averaged 31, 5, and 4, which is a very good stat line nonetheless. But again, at least in my opinion, Bradley Beal is really just known as being one of the best scorers in the NBA, which is really good. That's awesome. Last season he shot, let's see, about 35% from 3, but we all know he's chalking up about 6 to 7 threes a game. Shot 90% from the free throw line, and let's see, the 3 field goal, 48% from the field. So for a high volume shooter, definitely not that bad. And I feel like that's all really, no offense, that's all he's really going to be next year, is just a high volume scorer, which is okay. Bradley Beal is an okay, defender. He averaged over a steal a game, which is good, and even just watching games for the Wizards, he is a scrappy defender, but nothing super duper crazy, so that's why I maybe put him over Zach Levine, because obviously both are really good scorers, but Bradley Beal is maybe just a little bit more polished all around, but barely. And plus, playing on a team by himself, he could still have some crazy offensive numbers this year, which is going to be really cool to see. But, I mean, we could just see, just Bradley Beal chucking up like 30 shots a game maybe, and just balling out of his mind, just having a bunch of fun in Washington since they're not going to be that great anymore. We could see that, and although that is, good stats, cool numbers, as an individual player, how good is that? I really don't know. So I think for where Bradley Beal is, I think maybe somewhere around the top 5 is a good spot. Maybe 4 to 6 I think is a good spot for him. I just think, again, being on not so great of a team, kind of just being known as one of the best scorers in the NBA, discuss my personal top five shooting guards in the NBA next year, or at least going into the year. At number 5, maybe controversial, I have Jaylen Brown. Yes, Jaylen Brown, top 5 shooting guard going into the year. Now, I think we can all sort of agree that Jaylen Brown might be one of the best two-way players in the NBA, offensively and defensively on the perimeter. This dude last year as an all-star, averaged 25 and 6 and about 4 assists a game, which is pretty good for a player who's only in this is about his 5th or 6th year in the NBA. So just now finally starting to get into the groove of the NBA, finally starting to become maybe in his prime. I don't know, but very good stats nonetheless. He also shot a career high 40% from 3 last year, and also about 48% from the field. I really like the trajectory Jaylen Brown is going in right now. He also averaged over a steal a game, about half a block a game. As a 2 guard, is a pretty dangerous player. Now, although we kind of have a bad taste in our mouths from Boston last year, from how pretty much the big downfall they had, obviously with all the injuries and everything else going on, that team just really had a big explosion at the end of the year. So I think, again, going into the year, I think we finally have a little bit more higher hopes of them, also including Jason Tatum. I think Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown are both going to have some big time years, and hopefully that can just contribute to more of a successful season for Boston. And I think it will. I think Jaylen will be an all-star again this year. I think he will be around a 25-point per game scorer again, still being that really good, scrappy defender. I think we're just going to see maybe a little bit more of the same of Jaylen Brown, which in my opinion is still really, really, really good. So I do have high hopes for him. Now, could Jaylen Brown come in next year and just, I don't know, have a poop show and just be like an average 20-point per game scorer? Sure, and that's obviously going to knock him down. But again, from what I can just see and tell, and how smart, high IQ basketball play that Jaylen Brown has been playing, I don't really see that happening. So at number 5, probably controversial, but I love having some controversy in my videos. I have Jaylen Brown. Could be. I don't know. Okay, so these next 2 players are very interesting, and these ones are even more, to your own opinion than probably any other sort of spots on this list. But again, just my list. At number 4, I have Donovan Mitchell. Number 4. I think we all know Donovan Mitchell is just an absolutely insane basketball player. Last season averaged 26 points, 4 rebounds, and 5 assists. Had a very solid year, his 4th year in the NBA. He shot 38% from 3, 44% from the field. And obviously in the playoffs, Donovan Mitchell is just a different breed of a player going into the playoffs. We saw it in the bubble. We saw it even last year when he was even coming off an injury. Donovan Mitchell looked really good, and obviously being on the number 1 seed in the NBA last year, that was just insane showing out for Donovan Mitchell, and I'm hoping to see that again. Now, hopefully with some more contribution to the Utah Jazz and some more team play, hopefully the Jazz can still have a really great year, and I feel like Donovan Mitchell will as well. Donovan Mitchell as a 2-way player on the offensive end and the defensive end is obviously something to really be looking at here, being a sort of scrappy 6'1", 6'2" defender, looking really good. Also, we all compare him to, Dwayne Wade or someone like that, which is really good, but he definitely has a way better jump shot than D Wade ever had, so he definitely has a lot of potential, which is really good. But again, from what we saw last year, going into the new season, at number 3, I have Devin Booker, and I know Donovan Mitchell and Devin Booker will always sort of tied together as being the next sort of maybe, go-to shooting guards in the NBA. Obviously, D Wade with Donovan Mitchell. We all always heard the Kobe Bryant comparisons to Devin Booker, which I hate, but it happens. And just me personally, I feel like it'd be kind of disrespectful for a player who went all the way to the NBA Finals and had a very good showing out in the playoffs not be at least top 3 for what he did. I think over this player, I think yes. I think we all know Devin Booker 4 assists. Obviously, not really needing to be that facilitating version of Devin Booker a lot because of Chris Paul. Now, the reason why I put him over Donovan Mitchell is because I do feel like Chris Paul really, I'm assuming, is going to trust his teammates a lot more this year than he did last year. I'm not going to say he's going to he's not going to have a down year, but I think he's going to really give the reins more even to Devin Booker and Ayton. So that's why I feel like Devin Booker, we might see a little bit more of that two-way of scoring and facilitating type of Devin Booker. Not just, oh, give me the ball and I'll spot up shoot for Chris Paul, you know what I mean? So I'm just playing more of a hindsight sort of game here, and I feel like Devin Booker is just going to take a bigger step in this next upcoming year. I feel like the Phoenix Suns are still going to be a great team. Chris Paul maybe taking a step back a little bit, giving a little bit more of the reign to Devin Booker, trusting him a little bit more. Devin Booker's coming off of a gold medal performance in the Olympics. I'm just seeing a lot more of Devin Booker, so I'm putting Devin Booker 3, again being an NBA Finals player, and Donovan Mitchell at 4. Could they switch? Obviously, it's just up to your opinion, and I think that's what's cool about this listing is because we all have different ones. Alrighty, so coming in at number 2, and also sorry if you can hear a lot of cars driving by. It's kind of annoying. I live by a road, if you didn't know already. At number 2 is a player who I feel like is going to need to take maybe one of the biggest steps in the entire NBA. So at number 2, I have, and I'm actually not sure if he will be a 2 guard next year, but last year he did play shooting guard, so I can have the rank him as a shooting guard. At number 2, I have Paul George. I know, kind of crazy. Paul George, as we know, is definitely not the player that he used to be in the NBA. But that is maybe mostly because he played alongside Kawhi Leonard. Kawhi Leonard not being in the NBA maybe at all this year, maybe not until maybe late season, early playoffs. Paul George is going to have to become maybe Indiana Pacer Paul George again. Let's not forget that even 3-ish years ago, this dude had MVP numbers. This dude averaged, about 3-4 seasons ago, 28 points per game, 8 rebounds, and nearly 7 assists. That's crazy. That's absolutely insane. I'm not saying we're going to be seeing that Paul George next season, but maybe something very, 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 very close to that being the number 1 go-to option for the Clippers. Last season, he averaged 23 points per game, about 7 rebounds, and 5 assists. Still pretty decent numbers. He shot 40% from 3, which is pretty insane, and 47% from the field. Paul George, as we know, is one of the best two-way players, definitely in today's NBA's era. If we can just see, again, a little bit of that 2018, 2019 Paul George again, I think the Clippers still have a very good shot at least having a good spot in the playoffs. Maybe Kawhi comes back before the season's over, and boom, the Clippers are back to being still a championship caliber team. If Kawhi comes back, 100% legs under him, ready to go, still a very dangerous team. But I feel like Paul George is going to have that year where he finally shows out again. Maybe he becomes an all-star. Maybe leads his team to a good positioning in the playoff run for the Western Conference. It's going to be very interesting to see what happens. Sure, could Paul George be a 22-point per game scorer and the Clippers fall out of the playoff race? That is also a big possibility. So Paul George needs to really step it up. I think he knows it. I think we all know it. He's going to have a really impactful year. So with this current situation and the skill that he has, I think it's pretty, well, not easy, but it is pretty realistic to think that Paul George by himself is going to have an incredible season next year. But still not crazy enough of a year by himself on the Clippers to be number 1, because number 1, and according to ESPN, is still a shooting guard, even though they said differently, but according to ESPN, is a shooting guard. I have James Harden. Yes, James Harden. Still the best shooting guard in the NBA. Still, at least in my opinion. Last season, he averaged 25 points per game, 8 rebounds, and nearly 11 assists. Oh my God. I think last year's James Harden was, at least in my opinion, the most, I don't want to say productive James Harden, but definitely maybe the best version of James Harden, at least to win a title. This dude wasn't that sort of, dropping 50, 60 points a game to just, wiggle out a win, like again we talked about before for other players. arguing into that MVP conversation, which I think we definitely could have had if he did stay healthy throughout the entirety of the year. One of the best shooters, one of the best inside scorers, one of the best facilitators. This dude has it all, and definitely is not that sort of, wimpy defender that we all remember James Harden as. I know I say that every year and every time I talk about James Harden, but he is a scrappy defender. He plays passing lanes really well. He can steal the ball off of your favorite NBA player. He's a high IQ guy. I mean, Harden is at least in my opinion, the best shooting guard in the NBA, if not at least a top 2, top 3 point guard if he does want to be a more point guard role next year. But again, according to ESPN, he is a shooting guard. So, I think that's all I need to say. I think that makes sense. I feel like that's not a very controversial number 1 pick, but number 1, I have Harden. Number 2, I have Paul George. Number 3, I have Booker. Number 4, I have Donovan Mitchell, which again, those guys you can flip around any which way. 5, controversial, but hey, I can see it happening. Top 5, Jaylen Brown. 6, I have Beal. 7, I have Zach Levine. 8, I have SGA Clay. At 9, just again, don't want to give him too much pressure. And 10, CJ McCollum. Now, obviously, there are some other players like Anthony Edwards, who had a really good year last year as a rookie, but I feel like still isn't really there completely, and also on that very badly put together Timberwolves team. I guess maybe he could sneak into top 10, but we're gonna have to see how he grows next year. Fred VanVleet is a very good player as well, but I'm not entirely sure. Yet. Who else is there? I know a lot of people had Colin Sexton in their top 10s, but according to ESPN, Colin Sexton is listed as a point guard, so he is a point guard, I think. So, kind of a weird spot if you really want to ask me, but yeah, I think that's everything. So, hopefully you guys had a good time watching this video. Again, comment